2006 Noida serial murders. The 2006 Noida serial murders, also called Nithari serial murders or Nithari case, occurred in the house of a businessman, Moninder Singh Pandher, in Sector 31, Noida, near Nithari village, Uttar Pradesh, India, between 2005 and 2006. Moninder Singh was convicted in two out of the five cases against him, and his servant Surinder Koli, who supposedly aided him, was convicted in 10 out of 16 cases against him. Both were originally sentenced to death. However, in 2023, Allahabad High Court acquitted them, citing lack of evidence. In December 2006, two Nithari village residents reported they knew the location of remains of children who had gone missing in the previous 2 years. The municipal water tank behind house D5, Sector 31, Noida. Both had daughters who were missing, and they suspected Surinder Koli, the domestic help at D5, was involved in the disappearances. The residents claimed they had been reportedly ignored by local authorities. Therefore, they sought the help of former Resident Welfare Association RWA President S.C. Mishra. That morning, Mishra and two residents searched one of the residents and claimed to have found a decomposed hand, after which they contacted the police. Anxious parents of children missing in the last 2 years rushed to Nithari with photographs. Kohli, under the alias Satish, later confessed to killing of 6 children and a 20-year-old woman referred to as Payal after sexually assaulting them. The families of the missing children accused the police of negligence. Initially, some police officers, including Noida SPCT, denied any criminal angle and asserted that the families has provided false information about the ages of the missing, that they weren't minors but instead were adults who left home after fighting with their parents. The residents also alleged that the police were corrupt and were paid to conceal information. Demands were made for an independent investigation. One of the residents asserted that the police were claiming credit for discovering the bodies when it was residents who dug up them. The police denied having found 15 bodies but said that they have discovered skulls, bones, and other parts and said they were unable to give a figure of numbers of victims. The victims' identities and numbers could not be established with DNA tests. The police then sealed the house and did not allow any news media near the site. The central government tried to ascertain the facts behind the discovery of skeletal remains and whether it had interstate ramifications. Law and order are state matters, but the Home Ministry asked for details about the magnitude of the crime. On 26th and 27th December, respectively, Kohli's employer Moninder Singh Pandher and Kohli were taken into custody by police in connection with the disappearance of Payal. After Kohli's confession, the police started digging up the nearby land area and discovered children's bodies. Two policemen were suspended on 31st December for failing to take action despite being informed about the number of children missing, as angry residents charged the house of the alleged mastermind, demanding the removal of Mulayam Singh government. The situation at Nithari was aggravated as an angry mob of villagers fought with police, then pleating stones at each other just outside the residence of the accused. The, the police also detained Pandey's maid Maya under suspicion that she lured women to the house. As more body parts were dug up near the premises, hundreds of local residents descended onto the spot and alleged that there was an organ trade connection to these grisly killings of young children. A doctor living close to Pandher residence, Naveen Chowdhury, had been under police suspicion a few years prior in connection with an alleged kidney racket at his hospital. Searches were conducted throughout his property and the investigators found no evidence to support the claim. On 1st January 2007, the remand magistrate granted the police custody of Pandher and Kohli until 10th January 2007, as the investigators said that further interrogation was required to complete the recovery of victims' remains. The court also granted permission for narco analysis. On the same evening, the police conducted a raid on Pandher's Chandigarh residence. His wife and son were interrogated about Pandher's habits. Police sources disclosed that the relationship with him was strained, which was later found untrue. His behavior was described as normal. A senior police inspector revealed that there would be a series of searches conducted at Pandey's Ludhiana farmhouse and nearby places. The recent child kidnapping cases in Chandigarh, Pandey's hometown, were reopened, but nothing was found. The next day, 15 of the 17 skeletons discovered in the village were identified. 10 of them were identified by Koli when he was confronted with the photographs of the missing children. 5 others were identified by family members after being shown belongings recovered from the scene. The torsos of the body were missing, and the investigating team was looking into possibilities that the killings were motivated by illicit trade in human organs. The police said that there were at least 31 child victims. Security was increased as police expected more disturbance following 2 days of violence near Pandey's residence. In a press statement, Chief Justice of India Y.K. Sabharwal asserted that the investigation was at preliminary level and neither the court nor the Central Bureau of Investigation were involved at that point. The central government, however, constituted a high level inquiry committee to go into the police lapses during the period of reporting and investigation. Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh Mulayam Singh Yadav said that he would await the report of the committee looking into the issues before making a decision on whether there should be a CBI probe into the matter. The committee was headed by Joint Secretary, Women and Child Development Ministry, Manjula Krishnan. Under the terms of the reference, this committee would take stock of the efforts made by Noida police in locating the children who went missing. It would assess the level of cooperation and assistance provided by the local administration to locate the missing children and unite them with their families. It would go through the modus operandi and motives of the accused. The panel met the parents of the victims to record the statements, even as the police determined that out of 17 confirmed people killed, 10 were girls. Parents of 8 of the sexually abused children were given compensation of rupees 12 lakh. The DNA samples from the human remains were sent to forensic laboratory in Hyderabad for the identification of the victims, while forensic samples were sent to the laboratory in Agra for determining the age, cause of death, and other details. It was determined that Payal was the only adult victim identified, with all other 11 victims below the age of 10. 7 of 8 families that had been provided with compensation of rupees 2 lakh on 3rd January 2007 returned their checks in the protest. However, the checks were soon returned to them. They demanded houses and jobs in compensation as well. After pressure and public outcry, the Uttar Pradesh government suspended 2 superintendents of police and dismissed 6 policemen for dereliction of duty. The action followed the report by the 4-member committee. On 17 January 2007, the inquiry committee submitted its report indicating the Uttar Pradesh police for gross negligence in handling the cases of missing persons. The committee said that the local administration was negligent and irresponsible while dealing with the missing persons report and did not rule out organ trade as a possible motive behind the killings. The 2 accused in the case were already in police custody, while the skeletal remains of the young children were being unearthed from behind and in front of Pandey's residence. An FIR had been filed on 7th October 2006. Investigations revealed that Payal's cell phone was being used, although the SIM she owned remained inactive. Through digital surveillance, the investigators were able to track down a number of people and could finally reach the man who sold the phone. The rickshaw cart puller affirmed that the phone belonged to someone from the Pandey's residence. After the affirmation of the facts by the victim, Moninder Singh was called for interrogation, which subsequently revealed nothing. His aide and servant Surinder Koli, who was picked the next day and confessed to killing the woman and dumping her body behind the house. The police started digging and henceforth recovered the skeletal remains of the missing children instead of Payal. Nandlal, the father of the girl, Deepika alias Payal, alleged that the police had threatened and harassed him. He stated that it was because of the court intervention that the police officers registered the FIR. The investigating teams seized erotic literature along with a laptop computer connected to a webcam, which immediately raised apprehensions about the presence of an international child pornography racket. The police also recovered photographs of Pandher with nude children and foreigners during his four international visits. It was alleged that Pandey supplied such pictures abroad and could link him to pedophilia, which was later discovered to be untrue. Later, during the investigation, it was found that the nude children in the pictures were Pandey's grandchildren. There was no link found to child pornography. The laptop and webcam were later returned to the family, and the story was classified as media curated rumor. The police initially suspected an organ trade angle as to the motive behind the murders and raided the house of a doctor who lived in the neighborhood of the primary accused. A team of officials, accompanied by a team of forensic experts, went to pick up possible evidence for test. The police revealed that the doctor had been accused of a similar crime in 1998, although the court had absolved him the same year. There was a second raid a few days later. The police were, however, cautious with the reports from the news suggesting the accused committed cannibalism even before the polygraph test had barely begun. They were aghast when they learned of media reports that one of the accused has confessed to the consumption of victims' livers and other body parts. Such a possibility was not ruled out by the investigating team, considering the amount of brutality the duo had allegedly committed on the victims. The accused duo were brought to the Directorate of Forensic Sciences in Gandhinagar city in order to undergo brain mapping and polygraph test on 4th January 2007 and narco analysis 5 days later. The police director told the scribes that both the accused have been cooperative during the test and examinations. A senior director of the institute announced the conclusion of the extensive test and declared that the conclusion had been drawn. Surinder Koli had confessed to the crimes and had given the employer a clean chit saying that he was unaware of Koli's actions. Surinder Koli also revealed that all the death has been taken place through strangulation. He would then rape them before taking the bodies to his personal washroom and dismembering them. Pandher was declared to be a womanizer and depressed. After 4 days of discourse and mounting pressure from the government of India, the Uttar Pradesh government decided to hand over the case to the CBI. The notification came after the Department of Personnel and Training, which governs the CBI, sent a letter to the state government making a proper request for a probe by the agency in line with the prescribed norms. The two accused were taken to the CBI headquarters in Mumbai jail on the night of 11th January 2007, a day before the investigation was to be transferred to CBI. The CBI continued its investigation and discovered three more skulls and human remains at the site of serial killings. The investigators searched the drains outside the house and found three skulls believed to be of the children and several body parts, including the legs, bones, and torso. Several objects were found that are believed to belong to victims. The exhibits were sealed and forwarded to forensic labs. The Central Inquiry Committee that investigated the serial killings discovered several lapses on the part of the police in handling the case of missing person. The reports were incriminating and proclaimed that the local police failed in their duty to respond to complaints over the past 2 years. The discovery of several polythene bags containing parts of human torso led the investigators to conclude that it was unlikely that the accused had links to illegal organ trade. The CBI team discovered the bags in the drains outside the Pandey residence. After interrogating Surinder Koli, they came to a prima facie conclusion that he is a psychopath used to carry out killings. Interrogators also said that it was possible that Pandher had no role to play in the murders. The seized materials were sent to the laboratory for post-mortem, identification, and DNA extract. The materials received from the Uttar Pradesh police were also forwarded to the forensic examination. Some liquor bottles, a double barreled gun, cartridges, mobile phones, photographs, photo albums, and a blood stained grill were handed over to the CBI for extensive examination. Preliminary investigations revealed that the bones were not more than 2 years old. The CBI also revealed that only 15 skulls had been found thus far, and not 17 as claimed by the state police. A three-member CBI team questioned the kin of Surinder Koli in the Almora district. In November 2007, the Supreme Court notified the CBI concerning the case about the allegation by a relative of the victim that the investigation agency was trying to shield Moninder Singh Pandher, one of the key accused in the case. Payal was the only adult victim in the string of serial murders. Young girls constituted the major of the victims. Postmortem reports of the 17 set of skulls and bones recovered showed that 11 of the killed were girls. Doctors at Noida Government Hospital revealed that there was a butcher like precision in the chopping of the bodies. The postmortem reports revealed that there had been a pattern in the killings. A gory revelation was made by the AIMS on 6 February 2007. It was also concluded that there were 19 skulls in all, 16 complete and 3 damaged. The bodies had been cut into 3 pieces before being disposed of by the servant. The CBI sources said that the manservant, after strangling the victims, served their heads and threw them in the drain behind the house of this employer. Sources also revealed that he used to keep the viscera in a polythene bag before disposing of it in the drain so as to prevent detection. The skulls and other remains were forwarded for the Center of DNA Fingerprinting and Diagnostics Hyderabad for further profiling. The crime scene examination, recovery and collection of human remains, and exhibit and their detailed examination was carried out by experts from AIMS and CFSL under the chairmanship and guidance of Professor T.D. Dogra. On 12 February 2009, both the accused Moninder Singh Pandher and his domestic servant Surinder Koli were found guilty on 8 February 2005, murder of Rimpa Haldar, 14, by Special Sessions Court in Ghaziabad. This verdict left the Central Bureau of Investigation red-faced, as the CBI had earlier given a clean sheet to Moninder Singh Pandher in all its charge sheets. Both the accused Moninder Singh Pandher and Surinder Koli were given death sentence on 13 February 2009, as the case was classified as rarest of the rare. Kohli was given a second death sentence for the murder of Aarti Prasad, aged 7. Kohli was given a third death sentence on the following day for the murder of Rachna Lal, aged 9. Kohli was given a fourth death sentence for murder of Deepali Sarkar, 12. On 15 February 2011, the Supreme Court upheld the death sentence of Surinder Koli. On 24 December 2012, Kohli was found guilty of the murder of Choti Kavita, aged 5, and given a fifth death sentence. On 10 September 2009, the Allahabad High Court acquitted Moninder Singh Pandher and overturned his death sentence. He was not named a main suspect by investigators initially, but was summoned as a co-accused during the trial. While Pandher was acquitted, the Allahabad High Court upheld the death sentence for Surinder Koli. In February 2011, the Supreme Court of India upheld the death sentence against both as suspects. In July 2014, the President of India rejected the mercy petitions filed by Koli. On 3 September 2014, the court issued a death warrant against Koli in the Nithari case. On the evening of 4 September 2014, Koli was transferred to Meerut jail because of the absence of hanging facilities at Dasna jail, Ghaziabad. He was to be hanged on 12 September 2014. The Supreme Court stayed the death sentence for a week after a petition was filed for Koli. The court stopped Koli's hanging at a midnight hearing, saying an inordinate delay in execution was valid grounds of commutation. But on 29 October 2014, the Supreme Court bench handed by the Chief Justice of India, H.L. Datta, rejected the death sentence review petition, stating that the court had not committed any error in judgment. On 28 January 2015, however, the High Court bench headed by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice B.K.S. Baghel commuted Kohli's death sentence to life imprisonment on the ground of inordinate delay in deciding his mercy petition. On 24 July 2017, both Koli and Pandher were given death sentence in the latest hearing by the CBI Court of Ghaziabad. In 2019, Koli was again given a death sentence in the 10th conviction. On 16th October 2023, 17 years after the crimes were discovered, Koli and Pandher were acquitted of all charges against them after appeals filed by the two suspects. Both were acquitted by the Allahabad High Court due to lack of convincing evidence other than the confessions of the accused. The decision came as a shock for the victims' families who were hoping for justice. Papulal, a security guard whose 8-year daughter was killed in the serial killings, said after the judgment, "We don't have this much money that we can keep fighting for justice for so many years." Durga Prasad, whose 7-year-old daughter was murdered, declared, "This court might have acquitted those monsters, but there is a bigger court of God who will not spare them."